Hello and welcome to episode 174 of the Nerds at Larger Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hellman.
And I'm Jeff Mayo. And Darby, do you know how long ago that we recorded the last podcast was?
Oof. It's like the last regular podcast, no other weird things.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever I needed to do a time, I did a time.
So do I need to answer in minutes?
Sure. Or hours.
Hours, sorry. It's been 420 hours.
Pretty close, 407.
Hey!
When I came up on my timer thing, it was still running from last time.
You think that eats into your battery at all?
Probably.
For 3 weeks straight, you've had your timer going?
It might.
I might not, I don't know. That's really funny. I love that you have not gotten any better at turning that off, so we just always get to see how many hours it's been since we last recorded. Yeah, it makes me happy. It's the small things that make you happy. Jeff, it's finally time to actually talk about video games, talk about news, not just a bunch of other things. But you should look back at our feed because we have quite a few cool things. We did our best of non-gaming for 2020 with Jacob Hamill. That was a very fun time. We did our FantasyCritic.games draft, which was a ton of fun. And a little bit before then, we did our top 10 games of 2020. Very fun stuff. Yes. And speaking of our Fantasy Critic draft, Jeff, didn't you want to do a little update?
Just a little update. We'll do this pretty infrequently. Just probably mainly when, a game comes out or reviews come out. We can give updates, and then we'll give updates for some of the smaller things. While we'll do like pickups and drops and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm not going to go through every game we drafted or anything, but here, the updates. I dropped Overwatch 2 because, as we'll talk about,
why'd you do that, Jeff?
Because as
you don't believe?
Because as we talked about, it is not coming out this year according to Blizzard, so I'm dropping that shit. And Darby picked up Shovel Knight Dig. Good pickup.
Yes,
good pickup.
Shovel Knight always reviews. I looked at all the reviews.
I mean, worst case scenario, you're getting 10 points. At the absolute worst case.
I think I literally looked at the entire, every Shovel Knight thing ever released, and not a single one has been under 9.
Yeah.
Even the card game and shit. So they make quality shit over there at Yacht Game.
No, you did smart not wasting a pick on that and then just
I figured it was not on my radar. I figured it was also not on your radar.
Nope.
But it's Shovel Knight, so
yep. And we actually had the first review for either of our teams come up. Little Nightmares 2 reviews dropped today. It is currently an 83 on OpenCritic. Could change because it's still early. Just dropped today. The reviews did. So.
Yeah. I see it staying right about there, though.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped to play that with you, good sir.
Yeah.
And talk about it here on the podcast.
Days. Unfortunately, Dar, I mentioned about dropping my pre-order and getting it digitally. I was too late. They're already.
Okay.
So.
Well, maybe I could play it with Jenny at some point, too. So,
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. True. But it probably also means that we won't be able to play that until next week.
Well, the good news is Best Buy's usually good about getting it to me the day of.
Yeah.
And I won't get off till 8 anyway, so.
We'll hope. Yeah. We shall hope.
Point is, we're getting it, and I am hyped.
Me too.
All right, Dari. Let's get into some game talk about what we have been playing. Or, I guess, what I've been playing.
Let's talk about another game that we're hyped for. Hyped out of your mind. Go ahead and retroactively put it number 1 on the 2021 hype list for Jeff.
Yep. I played the demo for Balan Wonderworld.
Game of the year. At the moment.
Yes, obviously. Hell no. This game is trash. Dear Lord, Darby, this game is just not good.
I've still I feel like I need to go watch the demo on YouTube just so I can see. I've just heard so many people explain it, and everyone just around the board, it sounds pretty insane that this is a game being released by Square Enix.
It's $60. And Dari, you know what's crazy? I know this is a quote-unquote old game, but on Switch, Crash is about to release, and that's $40.
Yeah.
Coming out about the same time. Ridiculous.
The difference is quality.
It's staggering. Yeah. Now, this game is going to... I don't know what price they would have to be to actually get some audio. It's not. I mean,
it would need to be good, probably.
Yeah, even at a $20 thing, I don't think this game would do well. At $60, this game's just going to bomb.
No,
absolutely
dead.
But as far as why I think it's bad, it quickly became apparent. The game doesn't really explain to you much what's going on, and I can understand. I understood quickly why I didn't need to explain the controls. There's one. I mean, all the buttons do one thing. You can only do one thing at a time. And every button does that. The triggers, the face buttons, they all do the exact same thing.
The funniest thing to me is that everyone, like, kind of funny, said that even when you go into the start menu, they have like a diagram of the controller with every button saying the same thing. And they even had it for the different systems, like Switch, same thing, Xbox. Like, cause literally you hit like X to jump, square to jump, triangle to jump, circle. Like, what?
And the thing is, jumping feels terrible. Like, it does not feel good to play. And I got a couple of the power ups, and they just don't feel good either. Because then, the jumping is replaced with whatever that thing does, and I don't even think some of the characters jump the power ups. So there's things you technically can't do while you're in these forms, so you have to die to lose it.
God, there's no way to drop your power up other than dying.
Not that I could tell. I didn't care to experiment crazy enough.
Yeah, I understand.
And to get these power ups, you need to you find these little warp things, which are fine, whatever. But you need a key to do it. And every single time that I got one, the key was literally right next to the power up.
So it was just pointless. It was just
tedious. I guess later there might be a little more thing, but if you're gonna there are gonna be levels in the game to where it really doesn't matter, don't make it so you have to get 2 items.
And the
key respawns. Like why the orb doesn't. So you can just rack up keys anyway, like, and they're pointless, obviously.
It's just an exercise of futility.
Yes, and around these orbs, they're like these animal creature things that are supposed to represent the power up you get that do these weird creepy dances. And then, but when you get close to them, their models just disappear. Like, not in a weird, they're disappearing. Like, it's like the opposite of popping.
They pop out.
Yeah, they pop out when you get too close.
Oof. Have you seen the thing you get at the end, though? The dance sequence at the end?
No, I didn't make it that far.
You should look it up on YouTube.
It's so weird because it's such. I guess for full disclosure, I played it on the Switch handheld. I don't imagine things would. I mean, I know that's going to be the worst way to make it look visually, but I know. Yeah,
this game doesn't look good anywhere.
Yeah, but it was so jarring to see that the beginning cutscene, which is well done. You can say you don't like the art style, but the actual cutscene itself and stuff, I think was well done.
That announcement trailer, the CG trailer, they announced it with, looked good because it has nothing to do with the actual in-game engine. It's completely outside.
And then you go into the hub world, and immediately afterwards, I'm just like, this looks oof. It looked better when I got into some levels, but I'm like, I've seen far better looking stuff in Dreams early on. It was that bad. And bad. I think all the budget went to that CG cutscene. I don't know if there are any more, but
this is one of those things that because they actually got some of the original creators of Knights and stuff, and other people who've made good games way in the past, and at Square Enix, I feel like this was Square Enix, probably because that guy had a bunch of clout behind him, and we've just seen so many spiritual successors to things recently. I think they probably just was oh yeah, sure, great, and they just gave him all the reins. They're here, have at it, we'll stay completely out of your way. And the guy, obviously, I guess in just modern game development or something, just went horribly wrong, and Square Enix just had no hand on the steering. They had no they were not exerting any force over this. So then by the time it was oh, we hyped this up, and then now they're looking at it, they're oh god, we can't pull out now. It just feels like like, I don't know, Square might take the wrong lesson and be like, now we have to be more hands-on, but maybe you do have to be hands-on, because this seems like it is like, that's been the sentiment I've seen everywhere. It's just the like, wow, this is pretty crazy to have the Square Enix logo on this.
Yeah, and it's not even a thing of, I think it needs more time in the oven thing. Like, some parts, sure, I guess, but I think just the general idea of it, like, it would need a lot more time, and like, they really need to look at their design decisions.
It just seems like a top to bottom, just poorly made game. Seems like it would be lack of resources, but it's not. It can't be. I mean, with just some of the backing behind it, so something just went horribly wrong. Yeah, and even like I've seen like Greg was like reading on Kind of Funny, was like reading off the official page for Balan Wonderland, and it's like there's typos everywhere. There's so many like translation problems. It's just like, this game just from top to bottom seems like it's just kind of incompetent.
Yeah, I think legitimately, like, it's just like at some point Square like just like oof, and just like, okay, we're just releasing this in the States and let's just get this over with,
because you already like had a big thing where you announced it, so it's kind of too late now.
Even then, like, I don't understand. Like, I just can't I'm someone who, like, think people get a little hyperbolic sometimes when games like cost too much, when games are $60 when maybe they shouldn't or something. I'm more in the defense of maybe the game should be 60, or like that's can be okay. This is one where I'm like, this should be nowhere close to 60. This is no way it should be close to a full price game.
Yeah, that's wild. Balan Wonderworld, everybody.
Yep. So we're gonna talk about a game I absolutely love. And that is Hitman 3.
Ooh, baby!
I am loving this game, Darby. The more I play it, it's just a joy.
That is awesome. I'm happy for you. So yeah, last time we talked about it, you had just done like a little bit of like Hitman 1 or 2 in VR, right?
Yes,
like,
that was the primary thing that we talked about. I messed around in some of the levels in there, and as far as new stuff, playing in VR.
Yeah.
But since then, I played the 3 levels as well as playing 3 levels in VR.
Yeah.
So I can do some updated VR impressions and my impressions of 3 levels and shit. So yeah, the first level is the Dubai level. And
yes.
All nice and beautiful and that kind of stuff. You can do some crazy shit with that. A lot of ways to set up of you just throwing someone off the side, or you just shooting them, they just fall over.
I like the glass like floor that you can see all the way down. That was like,
one of my kills where I think it was I was in VR when I think I did it. It was a knife throwing thing where you were one of the target trying out to be the target's bodyguard. Nice. And he took you to our target thing, and he was just throwing knives, and then once you did it, he told his other guard to go away, like, you're a lead, take a break, blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, walks away. Then he's just looking out to the side and kind of monologuing, and I just have this table full of knives. I'm just like, and he just falls over.
Yeah, it seems like they definitely, as Hitman's gone on, especially in this trilogy, they're not afraid to go into the goofy.
Yeah. Oh, something that's also awesome. I didn't do this, but I watched Kyle Bossman do this. Those same targets, he discovered those before he talked to the guy. And so he's like, oh, that looks fun. So he shot him down. So when he went and did the thing I did with the guys, like, wait, the targets are gone. What's going on? And Agent 47 was like, oh, I went ahead and took care of them. I already came by here and did that. And the guy's like, oh, I love a man with initiative. I like you even more.
That's awesome.
So I just love stuff like that. Like, that's apparent throughout the series when stuff like that happens. Like, they have the dialogue options to kind of...
They know that you'll approach this in so many different ways. Yeah.
So they have dialogue options for some of the, at least the more obvious ones. Like, there's a good chance that you... people will shoot those targets down at some point before doing that thing.
Right. Yeah.
So having that option there.
I bet that's like having to create dialogue and scenarios so that you have this giant sandbox that people can interact with in any order in the world, and as well as just start shooting people and blowing things up, and you have to adapt to that. I bet that's not easy.
No.
Develop for.
So that was beautiful, a lot of fun, and you got different ways to approach it and all that kind of stuff. It's just favorite games places, their soldiers and stuff are overplayed. That Dubai is huge with all the different places. with all the stuff in there, and it kind of disguises the way you can handle things.
Yeah.
So really level. Something that's a little more smaller, but I really enjoy is I can't remember exactly like the London one, whatever, the Knives Out level with the mansion,
the Dartmoor, something.
Yeah. Which also Darby and I finally watched Knives Out. Great movie.
Wonderful movie. Fantastic.
So that I've done that one multiple times at this point. Once regularly when I just went through the mystery of it, and then another time in VR when I was kind of more fucking around.
Nice.
And I also did Dubai in VR, and that was also insane. Kind of looking around. Obviously, things are kind of lower polys and all that stuff, but it's still like, well, then like it. They did a really good job with the VR port.
Good,
with this stuff, like making like you still get the sense of scale and all that kind of stuff, and the wackiness and just
everything's translated well enough. And
as we talked about, it's one of those times where I don't know how much we talked about it on mic or off mic or whatever. Like you look at Skyrim VR, and that's just kind of just threw VR. This took work, and it was done very well done. I love it.
Yeah,
I love the option to go back and forth. Like So if someone has PlayStation VR, I just recommend, if you have like the PC or PS4 option, I just recommend getting the PS4 just to have that option for VR.
Yeah, and I mean, let's end that here because we've definitely talked about it before. But again, it's just like with this, it's such a better package because you also can play these games normally, and they're in fantastic games on their own, right? But yeah, with like Hitman 3, have you noticed, are the Hitman 3 levels, like, is it an obvious step up from in creativity and crazy stuff from the previous ones?
Yeah, it's definitely different, and it's one of the things where I'm curious like how much I want to get into that or should, because there's like one level in particular that's like completely different with how they do it. But like for the Dartmouth or whatever level, the mystery, it was fun just going for the mystery of it, and you can there are multiple endings. They kind of lead to the same thing, but it's different ways you can approach it. And I've read one way, just vaguely, a way you can do things, and I'm like, ooh, I want to give that a try at some point. Like I'm already seeing, like, I'm already getting the urge to just go back and play levels I already did and doing things differently and all that, because the story mission ways you can do it. And then, you just doing whatever the fuck you want. And all those are, to me, are equally fun.
Yeah, that's a big part of the enjoyment of the game. I'm sure.
Just going for, and I just love, like, I haven't done it too much, and obviously Hitman players know what I'm talking about. I love going back to the levels and having a more sense of, like, okay, I know my way around this level more now, and that just adds something to it than just wandering around aimlessly.
Yeah.
So
you become more efficient.
Yeah.
Are there like secret endings, or are they all like laid out like the thing that I saw where you like scroll between all of them? Like, can you get on a path that was like not listed there?
I think so. As far as like, I know they're kind of like story-esque things that you can go on that don't seem to be those.
Yeah.
There are definitely different ways you can do it. But what was I gonna say? But what was fun going for my VR one is I started in, the first one I just did the investigator and did the whole mission through that way, because of course I am. That's the way you gotta do it the first time. But what was fun for my second time is I started as a gardener, and I was able to get already in the mansion, and I was able to go around some, and I killed. Why am I so bad with names? The old woman, whatever there. I killed her by kicking her into her own grave.
I thought you said baking her. I was like, did you bake her into a pie, Jeff?
I'm sure that's something one of the missions I haven't played. And then I was walking to the mansion, and I was like, okay, man, I'm not allowed in here. How am I going to get in? And as I was walking to the side of the mansion, the investigator walked by. I looked nowhere around, like, take him out for a minute. It's like, because I knew from the first time, it's like, you are an all-access pass. I can go about anywhere if you're close.
Ooh, baby, come here.
But it's one of those things that just, because it is Hitman, they gotta kind of like make it video gaming. It's like, there are people in this house that already seen the regular investigator and aren't, questioning why he's suddenly bald.
Yeah. And again, it has a barcode on the back of his head, which is true.
That's one of those things, like, that's technically not realistic, but if they made it too realistic, this game would be not nearly as fun.
This game's like leaning into some of the goofiness, and like, it's
a fine balance they strike.
And how, like, when you change into a costume, like every when you like change into a janitor's costume or something, everyone's like, "Hey, janitor, how you doing today?" And like you change to a business, they're like, "Hey, businessman." It's like no one would ever do, but like they like comment on the, "Hey, looking good."
Yeah.
Hey, totally Mr. Private Investigator, man.
Yeah, and as far as the Hitman 3 levels, I'm curious how it does, how it will feel replaying it. I guess I'll say this for one of the levels. It's in Berlin, and it just throws you in there. You don't have an objective at the start.
Okay, that's cool.
And pretty much you go into this club area, and suddenly you realize what your mission is, and normally they tell you who it is straight out, and you can use your detective vision, wherever the hell, to see where they are pretty much at any time. In this case, you don't really. Like, you're like, okay, you got to find these agents that are trying to kill you. You're being hunted as well.
That's
and
cool,
you got to take them out. You got to kind of figure out who they are.
That's cool.
And take them out.
That's a cool way to turn that on its head a little bit.
Yeah.
Put you out of your comfort zone. That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. And there's like the final level of it that's pretty much like a straight out, like, it immediately says for one of the, not objectives, but just kind of things like, hey, you don't get penalized for killing. You're like, okay. Like,
we going crazy.
Yeah, so they did a good job mixing up. I saw one of the guys from Team 4-Star who loves Hitman games was kind of a little bummed about that he, at least at the beginning, he didn't feel like it as much like normal Hitman stuff as far as the replay value, because there was such a story emphasis on this compared to the other ones with the way that was going. I don't know how he feels about it now after probably playing it multiple times, but I can get that.
Does the story like get in the way with you like experimenting around with stuff? Or?
It's just like for the two levels, it's just kind of well, more so the last one. Since it's because of the story, it's kind of more a straightforward thing. There's only so much you can do from what I can tell. I don't know like what all you can do. It's probably a little more than what I know, but I can see that getting in the way in at least some. Yeah,
at least in that mission.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting.
It doesn't matter as much to me because the majority of the levels for the trilogy are
the thing I saw you on. You were just like going straight on a train.
That's the one.
Is that considered an entire mission there? I thought
that is one area.
Okay. I just assumed that was like a bridge mission in between two of the worlds or something.
That is the final one.
Gotcha. Cool.
Looks nice in VR.
Cool. Oh yeah, Hitman 3. I mean, we knew it was a good game, but I'm happy to see Jeff is enjoying it as much as we thought he might.
Yep. Look forward to hopefully what's going on with my computer. Okay. Stream hopefully at some point where we do VR, non-VR, hopefully.
Give me that 007.
That too. I mean, luckily they pretty much said besides doing a little DLC and stuff, they're done with Hitman for now, which is it's fine after this trilogy. Take time off for that.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're going all
Swan song. Yeah.
They're going all in on 007. Apparently something else, but mainly on 007. And after playing this, I'm like,
give it to me.
We had zero doubt. It's in the right hands.
Into my veins.
Alrighty, Darby, let's get into that news.
News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jangle, Darby. Darby, to start out with, we have maybe big news? It's big news.
Big?
Maybe. Yeah.
The name is big.
Yes. E3 is apparently coming back.
It is. Yay, Jeff.
Yay.
We should get really excited, right?
Yeah. According to Video Game Chronicles and then confirmed by the ESA to IGN, E3 is planning on coming back, but digitally.
You mean E3 is not going to solve coronavirus?
No.
Damn.
Unfortunately not. So, that's coming back, and that's immediately like, okay, what does this actually mean as far as what E3 is going to show? Because I think me and you agree, most of at least the big developers and stuff were fine on their own as far as doing showcase.
Yeah, like I think this would be a different story if we had gone through all last year and we were back to normal as far as like doing shows and this was a physical show. I still think there would be some sort of like it still would have would be taking a hit.
Yeah.
Just from how everyone's gotten used to doing digital stuff. But I think at least there would be something different offered there, and I think that it would succeed to some degree there. But yeah, now like especially, I think it hurts especially with them being completely gone last year. So then everyone like had to do their own thing, and they did that. And I think for a lot of the third parties, I don't think it worked out that well, because I don't think any of those third party shows really got a whole lot of traction. Nowhere near as much of a traction as an E3 would have. But as far as Xbox and PlayStation, I think they have record numbers on their consoles. I mean, they are fine.
Well, even with the third parties, the Xbox and PlayStation shows were at the time, like as the show was going on, received better than the third parties, most definitely. But even third parties were doing really well and breaking some records of as far as like games and like actual game sales.
Games, so, yeah. I just mean like I don't think people talk about like those Ubisoft Connects or like any of that. I'm saying like they're like game show. I don't know if their like showcases did great as far as like getting people to care about them. But I mean, ultimately, that's relevant. I think some of those third parties will probably be at E3 to some degree or whatever. E3 will happen in some way, but kind of like you're hinting at, there's going to be a lot of these companies are not going to have a whole lot of incentive to do that. And I know you're about to say because go ahead. I mean,
well, the big thing is the digital thing. I think even if that was all of it, I would still be in the case. I don't know, like who's all gonna be there, or if it's gonna be enough to really make people care. But also, you add in the fact that according to Video Game Chronicles, apparently ESA is looking at potentially having a 6-figure charge to be a part of it. That for the big companies, at the least, like Sony's not going to be a part of it, no matter what. I think at this point, I think that's safe to say. But even Microsoft's like, we did fine on our own last year. And you want us to pay you money for us to do what we're going to be doing anyway and be fine.
To have like, no real new avenue there. And it's like, E3 is a big name, but Xbox and PlayStation are big names too. And their streams, it would be interesting to go back and look, but I doubt that their streams from last year did that substantially worse than the trade shows did in the past and everything. So if you're not offering anything different, then like it's kind of bold to charge that money. And like the third parties probably like the third parties would need Xbox to be the one paying to go to E3, and then they can like pay less to just like be in Xbox's showcase or something. Like that whole process would make sense to me. But like
well, and even then like some third parties are probably gonna be the big ones are gonna be the same as like our numbers are fine on our own.
I'm just saying for them to be a part of this. Like they're not gonna go like, I doubt Square is gonna go pay 6 figures to go do a showcase there.
Well, even take the big guns out of it as well. Like the people who I would think got the most out of E3 were the smaller games, the indie games, like being in all this stuff and trailers being around.
They're the ones that got the most there that they like couldn't have gotten elsewhere. Like they needed it more.
And the problem is with this fee is a lot of them probably won't be able to afford it or think that's worth it.
And the whole thing is like E3, like I mean, it's kind of like the rising tide like raises all ships. It's like those smaller games did really well at E3 because there was already eyes on E3 because of the big guys. If you don't have the big guys, then like E3 doesn't really help them. You know what I mean? Like if it's just the like smaller games, then that doesn't really help them any more than anything else would. It's like then it just becomes another like maybe a little bit better produced maybe, but it becomes like a Guerrilla Collective or like an opening night. Like it becomes like a lot of these that were just like it's just like it's okay. And I think you get less and less people like looking at it. I think this year just E3 has a big enough name and like it'll be like E3's back. I think you'll get decent viewership this year, but if it's like really lackluster, I think it really does become, I would say the beginning of the end, but the beginning of the end has already started for E3. I'm not too optimistic, kind of like you.
I mean, I feel like if none of the big three are there, then it's kind of like, what's the point?
Because I think without them, you're not going to have many of the next rung either. I think you kind of need at least Microsoft and Nintendo to probably say yes for a bunch of other developers to also say yes.
Yeah. You didn't even know that Nintendo's doing anything. Who the fuck knows? But also, what's coming back is Jeff Keighley's Summer's Game Fest. He announced? It's funny enough. It was like right before this happened, or teased that it was coming back. And obviously, a big complaint of this of how it was last year is it was just a long thing. Like, it was all summer, 4 months of all random things. Which
it wasn't really a well-defined thing.
Yeah, well, yeah. The thing is, I think people. It's weird, and I know this is partly on the way Jeff marketed it, for sure, 100%, is people looked at everything of, like, Jeff producing it, and it was all a planned thing. It's like, no, most of the stuff was stuff people were doing anyway. Jeff just kind of put it all on his site to, like, hey, here's all the stuff that's happening. Here's one easy place to see what's all happening this summer.
Yeah, I do think that was a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
It didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, it was kind of begging people to attribute you to this thing that's not you, because it's like it was weird. It felt like a very thrown together thing because like Summer Game Fest wasn't really a thing. It wasn't a real thing, really. It was just like,
there were a couple things that Jeff did. I mean, and I agree with you. It's like weird because we had that Unreal Engine demo. Yeah. We had the Crash, Tony Hawk announcements. He did the pre-show for the Xbox's conference. Yeah. So he did stuff, but that was small stuff compared to a lot of stuff that are being advertised, like Sony's and Microsoft's big shows and CD Projekt Red stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's I have hope because it was kind of a very last minute thing last year. The more time they played it, I have more faith that it's going to be more of a put together, actually planned thing, especially since Jeff said on Twitter threads and everything that this is going to be a more concise thing into 1 month as far as he's concerned.
I think that's smarter. That's a lot smarter.
I mean, he 100% agreed with that complaint, like he said on Resetera, but just because of COVID and everything and everyone's plans, that's just the way it had to be last year.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it was and we're in uncharted territory as far as how all this is going to work, and especially last year, like, no one was expecting to be doing all these online shows. No one had done all this before. So it was like, how is this going to work? And it was like, I get that no one really knew. And like, it seemed like, I think Summer Game Fest was almost Jeff like trying to run out and be like, hey, everybody come to me. And then no one really came to him. And he's like, please, please come. Yeah. So, and I am more optimistic too. But.
Yeah. And also, Jeff confirmed that Gamescom's opening night live is still going to be a thing this year. So I'm curious if it's going to, like, that gives Jeff might have said it at some point and I just missed it. If that gives a hint about when, I guess, his official Summer Game Fest thing is going to be, like, is it the month of Gamescom leading up to it again? Or is it going to be like in the June, July time, but opening that live is going to be more of its own thing?
I think so. Gamescom is in August, isn't it?
Yes, it was late August.
Yeah,
and I don't know why it wouldn't be any different this year.
I would expect June or July, one of the two, but that's what I would.
Yeah, it's probably going to be more of like when people actually want to, like, developers and companies want to actually talk about their games just for the second half of the year. So yeah, I agree.
And E3 will probably still be June, but again, who knows what E3
if we were to believe Video Game Chronicles stuff, yes, they're looking at like June 14th-ish. And apparently there's going to be an award show and all that kind of shit.
An award show for halfway through the year.
Also, Jeff Grubb's Summer Game Mess is also coming back. The most important
That's
thing.
the real news.
That's the real news.
That's the real.
Yeah. Okay, any more to say about any of that?
Not really. I feel like it's a fool's errand to predict how any of this is going to go. Like, with any certainty.
I'm making sure you are. Betting special.
Oh, right. Yes. you will make us go on this fool's errand.
Of course. If I don't, who will?
That is true.
Speaking of a fool's errand.
The entire existence
of Google Stadia. I don't think I'm gonna read all this. The breaking news was at the time from Steven Totilo from Kotaku, who is also leaving.
Oh, is he?
I believe so. That's all I
I'm
got.
not surprised everyone's leaving Kentucky.
Yeah. So pretty much, Google Stadia is not making games anymore. The service is still going to be a thing. Jade Raymond has left, and from what it sounds like, it pretty much was Google realizing game development is hard.
Who knew?
It takes time.
Who knew, Jeff?
Takes time and it's hard.
There was no way to know, Jeff.
Yes.
There was no way.
Absolutely no way to know. So it also the wording say it sounds like there might be something that comes out from the Google Stadia's team is like stuff that are close to being done might still release, maybe, who knows.
Yeah, probably, but they've only been around. It was
2 years ago they announced
it was just like 2 years ago in a few months, right? It was
I think it was literally just like almost exactly 2 years ago they did that first presentation where I think they maybe announced Jade Raymond being part of their stuff.
I mean, again, I don't want to like derail into this whole conversation, but I just want to point out again, this is another example of how you should always be wary about people being bought out by giant corporations, because they'll do something for 2 years, be like, oh, this wasn't easy enough, shutter the entire damn thing. And it's like everyone who was working there, everyone who quit their other jobs to go there, kind of screwed now.
So,
I mean, this is the thing with these big companies.
And under 50 developers are affected by this, but Google says they're going to try to find them a place within other parts of Google, I guess, if they so choose.
Great. They can get a demotion to go do something else, and they could have stayed at their job. It's like it's just so frustrating because it's like, who the hell didn't see this coming? I mean, you could see it coming a mile away.
It's the weird thing where it's not surprising, but I'm still a little surprised to see it just because of the timing of it. It was like, I knew this was going to happen, but I guess I didn't expect it to happen this soon.
Maybe a little bit, but I think it's right. I think people are rightfully this pessimistic about Google and a lot of these companies now because they've done the same thing before many other times. They constantly, this is the Google thing, this is the Amazon thing, this is the Microsoft thing, this is the big corporation thing, is you just throw a bunch of stuff out there, don't really put any effort into it, and just wait for something to get lucky, and then like shutter all the other things and go for that. It's like, I mean, Stadia was nothing more than the spreadsheet for a bunch of people, and it was probably like one team would start Stadia, and then another team would take over and be like, "What's this? This isn't making us money. Get rid of this." It's like, "Wait, we just started this. We haven't given enough time. No, get out of here. Go." It's like that's all it is to them. So it's ridiculous.
It hasn't made me enough money to fill out my bathtub.
Over the other thing, like no one has like been able to successfully even come close to successfully entering the video game market in years and years and years. It's been the same big like console holders and these things. Yeah. So you think you're going to be able to break into this like tight, like really hard to get into industry in 2 years? That's all you give it. It's like you didn't really give it any like.
Well, really the weird thing, like they're shuttering the development studios, but Stadia is still happening. Like that's still continuing for now, obviously for now. But
I mean, I think the best thing is to get it out of Google's hands as far as actually making it. And
it sounds like they might be like selling off technology.
I was about to say sell this technology to PlayStation so that they can get like catch up with Xbox with xCloud. And have have PlayStation Now does not work very well. Have it work, like the technology is really damn cool. And again, this technology would have been awesome if it was paired with you can download games, you can do all this. If this was just an ancillary thing onto something else, it would be great. I mean, I think the better future is Stadia being just a service that other people use because I don't want Google in charge of keeping this thing afloat game wise. Because they're clearly just not really up to the task. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, I think there's a place for Stadia because didn't some people say the Stadia version of Cyberpunk was like one of the best running?
Yeah, I mean, because it was obviously if you can get it to run or whatever, it's running from like a supercomputer, so it's like it's obviously going to be better than your base PS4. Mm-hmm. Because of that. So like, that is, it's kind of a special use case where most games aren't that broken. But and you also still, I mean, the caveat with everything in Stadia is you have to have a good enough internet to do it. That's always the thing. Yeah. And most of the people telling you Stadia works are people in big cities with incredible internet. So that's kind of the problem.
Well, I will say, the one time I played Immortals demo, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall the technology works good. Yeah. And I think there is a version of Stadia, the exact Stadia technology, that could have been successful. But Google was not really putting the work in to make that happen. So it's a bummer. Okay, I think the people who actually made the technology should be proud of themselves. I think they made very, very cool technology that I think is going to be useful, because I think that's where we're going in the future. It's just
100%, yeah.
But honestly, I'm pretty happy to have Google bow out of that future, because again, they're just not ready for this.
The fact that Google's not making games, that means we don't have to worry about ever really getting into Stadia.
You don't have to worry about Stadia exclusives. So I hope that Tango game is able to go somewhere else now.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. That's the only notable exclusive I can remember.
Yeah. Well, Darby, it's happening.
I actually am pretty excited about this one.
All right. This comes from Adam Beghurst from IGN. For the first time since 2013's NCAA Football 14, EA Sports returning to college football. Announced on Twitter via small tease that college football is coming back, EA revealed it will be partnering with CLC, the nation's leading collegiate trademark licensing company, to become the exclusive developer of simulation college football video game experiences. The EA Sports college football franchise garnered tens of millions of sales during its time from 2015 to 2014 and was a top 5 sports title in North America. The best America.
Yeah, damn right.
EA Sports College Football will include the rights to more than 100 institutions featuring logos, stadiums, uniforms, game day traditions, and more the fans have come to know and love. EA does note that while this college game will not include student athletes' names, images, and likenesses, EA Sports is continuing to watch their developments closely.
So do you say gameplay traditions? So do I get to play being drunk and being really bad at cornhole in the game?
Yes.
Nice. Here we go.
I mean, if not, you sue.
Yes, of course. Well, I'll get my lawyers ready.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of getting our lawyers ready, that last part is it's interesting. I
think it's just the timing of it. It's like, okay, technically that's not a thing yet, but they're probably going. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that wording is very much EA's. Like, we're assuming this is probably coming. It's like.
Yeah,
I mean, we're at least leaving it open. I mean, yeah.
Well, correct me wrong. Isn't that a big reason why they kind of stopped it?
That's what everyone assumed. I mean, not even assume. I mean, there was a guy that sued because of that, and it was pretty much after that they stopped making them. It was because he had a case. It was for in a lot of ways. And I mean, I mean, to be fair, I mean, to be clear. EA does a lot of shitty things. This is not really EA. This is the NCAA. The NCAA barring any athletes from getting paid for anything.
EA would be all okay with having the athletes there because that just makes the game look. It sells more copies.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. And again, it's a weird, thorny issue with a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, the NCAA, ESPN, EA, all these companies are making absurd amounts of money plastering people's faces on things, or having college football games, having all those things or whatever. So if you're using these people to make billions and billions and billions of dollars, I think they probably deserve some money. But that aside, I'm pretty excited about this. This is really cool. I've always, I always enjoyed simulation football games, growing up or whatever. It's something that I think has a lot of problems with the yearly release. I don't think enough changes, so I don't buy them every year because I just think it's absurd. But I do enjoy them, and I enjoyed them a lot growing up, and I know you did too. We all played them, and I do. Even though I prefer the NFL over college football, I do think there is something very special about those college football games because there's just something so cool about the fact that you would probably assume that they would just pick the Power 5 conferences and be done with it. But I love that they put a bunch of small schools in there. Like, you can go play South Carolina State. You can go play, like, New Mexico State. Like, you can do a bunch of, like, random tiny schools, and they actually have their schools, like, their, like, stadium and everything built out. And I think that there's just something so cool about that. That, like, even your tiny-ass school is, like, designed in this game. It's really cool.
Yeah. The problem is, like, I can't share the like level of hype for other people because if I'm being honest, like, current Jeff, my interest level for this is the same as my interest level in Madden, which is not really much of anything as far as me getting at this point.
Fair. It's just nice to have. I mean,
no. I'm glad it's coming back. I know a bunch of people are excited for it. It's just for me, I'm not like, it's just kind of, just a funny thing. And again, I'm not like shit talking these people for it. Just seeing people like on Twitter and Facebook that I don't see talk about like even football that much or like Madden or anything get like, oh my god, yeah. And I'm not saying they're wrong.
Yeah, I think it's a nostalgia thing. Yeah. I think a lot of us played those games. Like,
no, I think this game to, I don't know, maybe break some records or two when it comes out.
So there's just been because it's been since 2014. It's just been a very big, and like that 2014 game goes for like $150 on eBay and shit like that. It's crazy. So I'm excited. It's gonna be cool. It'll be cool to see it in modern graphics and stuff. I mean, again, there's going to be lots of problems with it like there is in Madden because Madden doesn't look as good as it should in lots of
other. So my understanding is I don't think it's coming out till next year, 2022.
I think so.
Yeah, which maybe then by then, I mean, I don't know how long this takes. This is ignorance on me talking on my part. But maybe depending how things go, they'll be able to add the likenesses and all that kind of stuff to them.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. It's court stuff, so... It's always probably going to take longer than you think, but I don't know.
Now, random thought. Like, if we do, like, FantasyCritic next year, does this count? Like, as far as, like, the first year. The first year it comes back. Afterwards, it's like just a yearly thing.
It is going to be a yearly thing.
Yeah, but the first year, we have nothing to go off of, technically. I mean, we have Madden, but, it's different,
Yeah, I suppose.
That's the thing I'm going to draft. I would draft it. I don't know how these things review.
I don't know. I would imagine they're all like 7s, 8s. But even though I know Madden 11 was like 60s. Or Madden 11, Madden 21.
The problem with potentially with this game for me would be just the way it is and just the different in how good teams are. Like South Carolina... compared to the other C schools would just be pitiful.
No, we're terrible. Yeah. We're garbage.
We are garbage boys.
At least back when, they were making those like the last few years. We had Spurrier and we actually had some good teams.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely garbage.
Absolute garbage.
And we probably have to buy something that has Trevor Lawrence's face on it. So
he'll be long gone by the time this comes around.
Well, they always have to put someone who graduated because they can't legally. With the whole likeness thing.
Well, I mean, if it's 2022, it'd be next year's class.
Yeah, so it probably would. Yeah. So there'll be the next Clemson quarterback that goes and wins the national championship.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll probably take, I mean, depending on what else going on, they'll probably, take the first chance for a Clemson player since they been able to miss
out. It does suck that Joe Burrow said that Joe Burrow just tweeted out. He said he was always dreamed on being on the cover of Madden, and then right after he graduates, NCAA, and right after he graduates,
still be on
comes
Madden.
Back. Yeah, he said NCAA. So, right when he graduates, it's God. And he would have been on the cover of it, I'm sure. If it actually happened.
No, 100%.
That sucks.
No doubt in my mind.
Well, yep, sad. You know what else? Way sadder.
Sorry, let's talk about Blizzard and how things are going over there. So pretty much during the Activision Blizzard shareholders call thing, Activision Blizzard said Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 will not launch this year. For Diablo 4, we'll just go ahead and get it out of the way real quick. From what I can tell, that's not surprising whatsoever, and Darby and I don't have any particular attachment to that game, so we'll leave it at that. But Overwatch 2... Darby and I were very sure that was coming out this year. I mean, I dropped it on our fantasy thing that mentioned I had to drop now, and for lots of reasons, this sucks.
Yeah.
Because for people who don't know and follow Overwatch, it's been about a year, really, now.
It was March.
So about a year since the last character, Echo, or really less any significant...
anything.
Any big thing was added to Overwatch. When it's really consistent at about every 3-ish months or something like that, up to that point. And they said, like, right after Echo or some point, like, oh, we're not doing any big updates, maps, or anything until Overwatch 2 comes out. So if it's not coming out this year, that will be 2 years after the last update for a game like this, which its fan base is already kind of maybe moving on a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, you're starting to have Valorant and some other games like pick up steam. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're picking up a good bit of steam, like right when Overwatch has been in a complete standstill for a year and might be for 2 full years. And this is just not the fucking type of game that can afford, like, it's not the type of game you do that with.
And also just a general Overwatch thing is, for the fan base perspective, like, it's just a year of the same old stuff. And from an Overwatch League perspective, it's like, no new characters to get excited about in there, no new maps or anything. Maybe some balance patches or something. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's what and I used to like watch like keep up with a lot of like Overwatch news and stuff like I used to have a YouTube channel that I watched that like talked about it every week. I haven't listened to that in forever because it's just like, balance patches is like that's the biggest thing that happens or whatever. I mean, they made some drastic balancing changes, but I mean, you can only get so excited for a year plus of balance changes with no new like actual characters and shit. It's like, and like it just bums me out because this is just so clearly to me an Activision thing, like an Activision like coming above them, because the same thing was happening to Bungie, where like Activision wants their Call of Duty like yearly influx of cash because like that's just their like old school way of doing things. But even the way that they said that what Overwatch 2 was, where it's like gonna have the single player thing and the graphics upgrade that you're buying, but if you keep playing Overwatch 1, you'll get all the characters and you can play with people. Like it seemed very clear that this was like their compromise, and they're like, hey, we know we have to do this whole sequel thing, but we're not gonna make you buy it. It's like either we're gonna try to keep this thing, which is like, it's good that they're not locking people out of that thing.
But then it's also like, what's the point?
But it also feels like, okay, if I don't really care about the single player stuff, which I would kind of put myself in that category. Like, I think it's going to be fun and I'll enjoy playing with y'all, but it's certainly not my priority. My priority is seeing those new characters and stages. So it kind of, if you don't care about the single player stuff, it really does feel like this game is just going on life support for 2 years for no reason.
I just kind of thought about something that's going to kind of suck. I feel like, kind of a prediction time, I feel like the single player story stuff is going to get unfairly judged and bashed just because it's in a way holding the multiplayer stuff hostage.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot of, we waited 2 years of drought for this?
Yeah. I do think that will be unfortunate. But at the same time, why are you making this like 2 years? It's like so stupid.
And again, if we talked about off mic, I feel so bad for the Overwatch stats because Jeff Kaplan is this is not his idea.
No, it just doesn't make sense. And like, I mean, like you said, Overwatch League, that's a huge fucking thing too, because like Overwatch League is already, with the pandemic and everything having to be shuffled around, they definitely, I don't think it didn't grow last year. No. I think if anything, it shrunk in viewership.
I would imagine.
And this is not going to help.
I don't know. Obviously, it's going to go down. I don't see how it doesn't.
And it's like, I don't know. I hope that, because I feel like this has to be a delay. I mean, they were saying, like, I think they were probably expecting this to come out sometime middle of the year to late in the year this year. So I really hope that they're like, okay, if we're going to delay it to next year, then we have to drop some of these characters.
So what I'm hoping, either that would also be great. What I'm kind of hoping, but because of the way Overwatch 1 and 2 works, I don't know how exactly this would work. So it'd probably go kind of like what you just said, just dropping some of the characters. But hopefully, BlizzCon Online is in a week or something. I think it's a week from Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully, they either do that or a beta.
Yeah.
Like they announce a beta, like, okay, guys, yes, Overwatch 2 is not coming out to 2022 this summer. I'll just throw that out there. So I don't know if it'd be an immediate thing at this point. This summer we will be dropping a beta where we'll have the new game mode. We'll have with new maps and all that kind of stuff, and like 2 or 3 whatever new characters.
Yeah.
Hopefully
I do think that will happen at some point this year. I think. I don't want to say anything for sure at this point. But.
I feel like the hype for Overwatch is at a,
it's in a weird. Overwatch is just in a weird place right now.
It's at the lowest it's ever been. I think.
It still has a shit ton of active players, but it's just like there's just not much to talk about right now.
I feel like with this BlizzCon stuff, and it's also kind of like what else? I mean, I know they got other stuff to talk about, but. You need a lot of stuff to talk about for these things for people to be excited, especially. I feel like they need to at least talk about a beta or characters or something and confirm it. If not, we're going to come out of that and be like, what are you doing?
If we go through this BlizzCon with like just very little new information about Overwatch 2, it's going to be... there'll be some reckoning.
At this point, I think fans will just be excited. Like, if we come out of that with like them saying, okay, guys, you have to wait for Overwatch 2 stuff, but we're changing our mind at least somewhat on the new character thing. So, 2 months from now in April or some shit, we're dropping a new character. That character from the trailer or some shit.
Yeah.
When they announce
something. You just need to do, you need to readjust your plans
they need to announce
we can't go 2 years.
They need to announce something that's somewhat immediate or exciting to get fans excited.
Yes. I mean, even if it's just a handful of characters this year, or a beta for a little bit, something. Yeah. I mean, if it's this time next year before we get anything else, then that's going to be a sad state of affairs for this game.
And then again, you have a league that dropped 6-7 characters you guys started playing.
Yes, just as we started playing July, and there's literally been 6 or 7 characters. It's absurd. And Riot said it's hey guys, we're probably gonna have less characters this year because the coronavirus. I hope you understand. And they proceeded to drop more characters than they normally do. I don't know what the hell happened, but
they're just on a roll.
But and Valorant has dropped a bunch of characters now since even in the short amount of span it's been out there, and it's not even as character centric as Overwatch. So it's
this whole thing in Overwatch is just unneeded.
It's completely unneeded. Yeah, I agree. It's a bummer. It really is.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about our favorite thing in the video game industry: acquisitions. We like them sweaty palms.
Grease them palms.
Yes. This comes from Luke Riley from IGN. Borderlands developer Gearbox has today announced it will be joining Embracer Group as a wholly owned subsidiary of the Swedish holding company formerly known as THQ Nordic AB. The deal reportedly worth up to $1.3 billion US, so approximately about a fifth of Bethesda's, for you out there counting. We'll see Gearbox and its 550 staff in Frisco, Texas, and Quebec City become Embracer Group's 7th official operating group. Embracer's existing operating groups include THQ Nordic, Saber Interactive, Koch Media, Deca Games, Amplifier Game Invest, and Coffee Stain Holding. Randy Pitchford will continue as Gearbox boss following the merger.
So how did the meme company become a gigantic giant in the video game industry, buying up everyone?
Darby, do you know how Donald Trump got so upset that Obama made a joke about him that he became president or tried to become president? It's kind of like that.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah,
it's kind of like that.
Okay. I mean, it's just weird to see this in real time because it really, it was obvious, definitely on this podcast. I don't even think it was that early in this podcast that news happened. That THQ Nordic became a thing.
Yeah,
and they were like, They're buying Darksiders and SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom and shit like that. Where it's like they're buying like all these like small like little things. Like, oh, they're bringing back 2D or AA games. You know, all these like smaller projects. That's cool. They're like, everyone's like, I'm sure like this company's gonna fail because like there's no way that's gonna keep them afloat. Like they're not gonna work out. But it's like, hey, you know, cool, good for them. And then flash forward, and they fucking are buying Gearbox, and apparently they've all bought like a shit ton of things. Like, they're not quite Tencent, but they're buying things left and right. It's just kind of weird how this can happen that fast.
Yeah.
I guess that's just American capitalism. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, like...
American capitalism from Sweden.
From Sweden. But everyone can play the game, baby.
Everyone can. So, as far as, like, buying Gearbox, I think Easy Allies brought up a pretty good point of, like, what exactly are they getting? Because they don't own Borderlands.
Yeah, so does 2K still... Does 2K own Borderlands? Or
my understanding is 2K owns 100% of Borderlands.
Okay, I thought the thing was... I thought that now Embracer owned Borderlands, but 2K was still doing the publishing. I thought that's what I heard, and they were saying in 2K...
I might be wrong on that.
And 2K announced that, like, for now, we're still... gonna be publishing Borderlands. This doesn't change that or whatever, which I imagine was because of like contract stuff. But that's just what I thought. I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, if 2K does own Borderlands, then that, I'd say kind of like you're hinting at. That is the biggest value of Gearbox is that IP.
Yeah.
We'll continue to work with 2K, but I don't think they. Well, I don't know. They could still own it, but
yeah, I don't know.
Who knows? But either way, they're still working. It sounds like 2K is still going to, at least for right now, be publishing those. But if Embracer does own Borderlands now, I could see that change.
Yeah.
At some point.
So the sentence is from 2K does not change 2K's relationship with Gearbox nor a role as the publisher for Borderlands. So then that kind of implies that
they don't own it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I might have misunderstood what I heard. So okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So I could see that. Okay.
Never mind. Yeah, that money. Spending that money makes more sense now.
Yeah. It's a big IP. Big IP.
Yep.
Yeah. Very interesting,
dude.
But I don't.
Embracer want to get in on that movie business.
What movie business were they in?
Borderlands, man. Borderlands movie coming out.
You're right.
Kevin Hart, Jamie Lee Curtis is apparently going to be in it.
You're right. Hey, baby, let's go.
I'm not watching that.
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say, but it is a big acquisition. That is weird. And I don't like that they made me have to think about Randy Pitchford again in the fucking medieval times.
Yeah, Darby, I'm looking at the time right now. I'm looking what we got left. We might
have a reasonable, somewhat short podcast.
The legendary Reasonable Link podcast.
Whoa! All right, we got to ramble on a bunch about something stupid.
Yeah, we'll get there. Because we got Nintendo sales coming up.
Then my lips got chapped over the weekend, and it's like it's like chapped above my lip. It's like around here. Mm-hmm. It's like peeling and stuff.
Let's see that. This is how we get to 2 hours.
It's like, yeah, it probably is, but it's like really freaking obnoxious. I've been picking at it all day. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, sucks. Don't do it, kids. Don't do drugs, man.
Speaking of drugs, Sony does a lot of them with the money they're making.
I'm sure some CEO, some suit up there does cocaine in his office, I'm sure.
Yeah, we got some sales time shit. There's a lot of sales stuff, but I'm focusing on Sony and Nintendo at the moment because
all the other companies don't fucking matter.
They do, but there's a lot of it, and I forgot to add it, so I'm not looking that stuff up now. There's a lot. Red Dead's doing good. Grand Theft Auto's doing good. I don't know. Ubisoft stuff seemed interesting. Watch Dogs and Immortal seem to be doing well, surprisingly.
I want to play Immortals. It needs to go on sale.
It has been on sale.
Yeah, but it needs to go on sale when I'm looking.
Just follow. Just get Warrior 64 notifications on your phone, like I do.
Yeah, I should.
But yeah, I want to play that too. Like as we mentioned,
or it needs to go on Game Pass, probably.
But I mentioned to you the other day. Like I've seen more and more positive things from people as we get more. Like more people are playing. Like, oh, it's actually really fun.
Yeah,
and just seeing some of like, yeah, that'd probably hit the spot.
Yeah. But Sony,
so we don't have too much stuff from them, but let's talk about what we have. PlayStation 5 shipped 4.5 million units in 2020, matching the PlayStation 4's launch in 2013.
Matching, okay,
yeah. So it probably would have done more if people could get their hands on it.
Yes, it is still freaking impossible.
Yes.
When do you think that would stop being impossible?
I think there's stuff that's sounding like it might go through this year, where it's still same thing with Xbox.
That blows.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
The PS5 like sales numbers is weird because it's impossible to know how much it would be selling.
And the thing is, we're talking about like the sales for this, like from what we know from Xbox and Sony, from based on what it was saying, is whatever number is like, okay, that's just how many consoles about you were able to produce.
Yeah,
like
that's all that means.
Like the headline would be like, the more interesting headline is if they were still, like Wii U's, there were stocks everywhere. Like it was still in stock everywhere.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah. So at this point, yeah, their sales are like talking about them, but nothing too interesting at this point.
Yeah.
But we got numbers for Spider-Man Miles Morales, and this is from the end of 2020, so obviously sold more. It sold 4.1 million. Just to remind people, this did come out on PS4 as well, so it doesn't have an almost 100% attach rate on the PS5.
Yeah. So it does not. Yes,
because it is on PS4.
Yeah.
Just
in fact, I would. In fact, probably most of that. Well, I don't know. A good percentage of that sales is probably PS4.
Yeah. I would like to see the split.
I would too.
Because it's...
I mean, it was obviously pushed a lot on PS5.
Yeah, I still think it sold more on PS4 probably, but also the hardcore... The people that are hardcore and probably buy day one are also people who probably bought the PS5.
You're right.
So I'd be very interested to see those percentages. But with that said... Good start, I think, for Miles Morales.
Yeah. Is this what you would? Is this about what you would expect from Miles Morales, or did you expect more or anything? I mean, like Spider-Man. Obviously, Spider-Man PS4 is like, what is it, 20 million or something now? It's like,
yeah, but it just had legs. For
yeah,
days.
But I mean
just maybe it's. I think it's hard to tell is because actually. Maybe we expect more, maybe.
Yeah, I think you can talk yourself down and be like, "Oh, but it's a spin-off side game or something." Yeah. But it's like, I don't know if you would have if you asked us in October what we thought it would have sold. I think we probably would have went a little higher.
And also, I was about to kind of maybe say that could be a reason people kind of saw that way. But I saw loads of commercials like on ESPN and stuff, and they weren't selling it as they were just selling it as a brand new Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Which, is the expectation. So I guess I would expect it to sell more.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I think it's good enough. It's not like bad. It's not like low enough to be like concerned, and I think it's going to keep selling. But
I guess I will throw this out there as in a defense of the game. It like as far as comparing it, I can't remember where Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man PS4 like launch like month-ish numbers were. Mm-hmm. But that came out, from my recollection, probably in a less crowded area. I think it was right September, so it was somewhat crowded. Actually, I think it came out at the same time as a Tomb Raider game, so not crowded at all.
The disrespect.
It's true.
It is true.
But this came out with everything around it, which probably hurt it to a point.
Yeah, and there probably are, I mean... I don't know. Maybe this is just making an excuse for the thing, but I could see there being a percentage of people that are want it but want to wait until they have a PS5, so they're not buying it yet until they get the PS5 and things like that. Yeah. But.
Finally, Darby, Astro's Playroom, 100% attach rate, baby, best-selling game on the PS5.
Wow.
Let's go.
So impressive.
Yes,
Every single person. You think there's someone that called and was like, I want my PS5. I want you to take Astro's Playroom out of it. I hate little robot men. They scare.
I don't even.
The little robot boys scare me.
But sir, you can uninstall it.
My children are scared of the little robot man. I need you to take him off of the PS5.
Man, you can just uninstall it.
Excuse me. This is customer service. Don't tell me what I have to do.
Oh boy,
it's a good game.
Okay, Karen.
Great game. The Karen.
Yep. Time to talk about Nintendo sales, Darby, and yeah, we got their quarterly reports, so we got a bunch of shit.
Yahoo!
Bunch of shit. So yeah, we got a bunch of sales numbers for a whole bunch of games, and yeah, we'll just talk about are these impressive and all that kind of stuff.
None of them are impressive.
None of it. So Switch has sold, and this is all at the end of December, the end of 2020. So it's sold more since then. Switch has sold 79.87 million copies.
Hot damn, never mind. That is impressive.
Now it's sold more than the 3DS. And on pace to probably outsell the Wii by the end of the next fiscal year.
That's insanity. Jesus. Yeah. Wii was over 100 million, right?
Yeah. And it's still outpacing PS4 as well. So yeah, probably, but by all said and done, probably outsell that as well.
Yeah, no, it's going to, I mean, it already is, but it's going to be one of the most best-selling consoles in history.
Yeah. Not going to be the best-selling because the DS cannot be overtaken.
Not the, but I'm saying one of. It's going to...
DS, PS2.
When you make the graphic, it's going to be in that graphic, you know. Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 33.41 million, and it sold about 4.5 million last quarter.
2013 game.
Yep. I mean, and honestly, now if you include the original Mario Kart 8 thing, I think it might be the best selling Mario Kart. I think if you add,
I would think so.
Yeah. Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, so I think also if you combine them, it's Nintendo's best selling game besides Wii Sports.
Which barely counts because they also pack in.
Best selling, fully priced, non-packaged. Yeah. Damn. Mario Kart 8.
I think that paid off for them, you know?
I think it did too. And I think it's safe to say we're not getting Mario Kart 9 on the Switch.
Yeah.
Because why the hell would you?
Why would you?
Like, I mean, just real talk. I think the smart play is, don't release it on the Switch, but then have Mario Kart 9 as a launch, either a launch title or a launch window title, and then just have Mario Kart 9 do what Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did. Just do that. Just make that the cycle for Mario Kart from here to the end of time.
You get one Mario Kart per decade, and you'll like it.
Yeah. I mean, it generally is normally one Mario Kart per system.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate they double dipped on it, and it did work.
It did.
It's great. I love the game, but to us it is a 7-year-old game.
Oh yeah, I get why other people don't feel the same thing, the same like bummer way that we do, because for most people it was a new game. We just experienced like many hours.
You put hundreds of hours in that game before it Deluxe came out.
So, yeah. I mean, it's a phenomenal game. But you know what else worked out for Nintendo?
Animal Crossing New Horizons at 31.18 million, with 5 million of that in the last quarter. It almost has surpassed Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in 9 months.
This is the craziest thing on this whole list, I think, to me. In 9 months.
Animal Crossing in 9 months is already up there as one of the best-selling Nintendo games ever.
Like, that's like one of the craziest first years I've ever seen for a game, especially compared to what the expectations were. I mean, not to say the expectations were low, but they were like, you can't tell me this was expected.
No. Like, I feel like when we were getting close to it, as far as like listening to, people we follow talking about the game, I think people were obviously underestimating it, but even like my expectations for this game were higher than I think most people like we know and follow were. Yeah. Even this is far past what I could have expected.
Yeah, I was prepared to go like, wow, 12 million. Whoa, look at Animal Crossing. Jeez.
Yeah. I was thinking like maybe maybe within the first year or so it gets past the record for Animal Crossing. It's like, oh no, it passes that in the first like month or something.
And it feels good. I love this game. I also I didn't get it. I forgot that I didn't bring it up in Playtime or whatever. I mean, I don't have really much new to talk about. I'll talk about it more when I have it, but I am still really loving the game.
Well, there's supposed to be a content update next month. You can talk about that shit when that time comes. But yeah, I believe now this one game is sold more than the rest of the whole Animal Crossing franchise.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, so that is crazy. So, question, Darby. I think this is a fun question to ask here, and especially since we have time. Does this surpass Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at any point?
I mean, yeah, right? Look at it.
So the only reason I would hesitate to say yes is because Mario Kart or Animal Crossing did sell more this last quarter than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it did sell comparatively.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of depends Animal Crossing's legs beyond the first year, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. I mean, I think it might be close, but I could see it.
Okay.
I mean, because I think Animal Crossing is Mario Kart 8 obviously is a game that everyone, when they buy a Switch, they also buy Mario Kart. I think Animal Crossing is kind of that game too. I mean, it's maybe not to the same extent, but I mean, I don't know. It's who knows? And Mario Kart 8 probably does have the longer legs, but I think it's going to be close.
A potential prediction that, I can easily be swayed off of is I think Animal Crossing will surpass it, but then by the end of by the end of the Switch life cycle, Animal Crossing will then surpass Animal Crossing again.
You mean Mario Kart?
Mario Kart would surpass Animal Crossing by the end.
I think that's probably right.
Yeah. Maybe next quarter, Animal Crossing will surpass it, but then Mario Kart will get back to it at some point.
I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see Animal Crossing be in just such a. It went from it's a pretty big thing to just juggernaut status, where it's it's gonna be a pillar of Nintendo for sure.
People were wondering why Isabelle got added to Smash. They probably should. Sales-wise, they should have another character.
Probably, in comparison to some of the other.
Give me a goofy Tom Nook moveset. I'll be okay.
Oh, I would love it. No, they just find some weird way to do that.
Yeah, just make it more different than the other two, and I'm okay with it. That's all I'll say for that. And speaking of Smash,
we can probably go through some of the other ones faster, but I definitely had to talk about Animal Crossing.
Okay. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, 22.85 million with 1.75 million in the last quarter. Still selling strong.
Yeah, not bad for it's slightly less mass appeal than Mario Kart, but it's still I think that's still very, very good.
Oh yeah,
and 175 million is still very good, especially when you still have more characters to come out.
Yep. All that from Sephiroth. Can you believe it?
All 100.
They were selling no copies until December when Sephiroth was announced.
They were about to shut down Smash Bros. Yeah. They're we just can't sell a damn copy of this game.
Sephiroth
we gave Nintendo. We gave him Steve. They didn't care.
Yeah. Steve was also in this last quarter, damn. Most of that was probably Steve. The Steve effect.
No, 100%.
Yeah. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, 21.45 million with 1.71 million in the last quarter. Yeah, so that put it over. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild now over 20 million as of this quarter.
And I hate to probably rope in the one you're about to also get to in a little bit, but one of the weirdest things to me was Breath of the Wild comes out, Mario Odyssey comes out, surpasses Breath of the Wild in sales, but then slowly Breath of the Wild has just come up and up and up until it surpassed Mario Odyssey again. And now it's been over it the whole time. It was that was a weird trajectory.
Yeah, and the weird thing is you look at I'll just bring up Odyssey real quick. It's at 20.23 million with 1.24 million last quarter. So it's not it's a little over a million less than it. It's just a weird thing of, like you said, Odyssey surpassed it immediately. Zelda was climbing up at a more steady, a higher pace or whatever, but they're still evergreen titles. Yeah, they just kind of passed it, but they're still selling pretty equivalent.
They're neck and neck, which I mean, it's cool because they're I lump those two games together in a good way so much. I just remember that year was so great. But it's also, I think this does show some of it's not all just chaos. There is some value in the word of mouth because like Mario is a bigger franchise than Zelda.
Yeah.
But I think this Zelda is doing better than Mario. I'm not trying to shit on Mario. I'm just saying, like, I think the Breath of the Wild hype is carrying that farther than Legend of Zelda, the name, normally does. Like, I think there's a lot of people getting into Zelda for the first time.
Oh, 100%,
which is really cool. Yeah.
Like this, probably double the next best-selling Zelda game.
You love to see it.
Maybe not quite if you do all the re-releases and stuff for a certain game, probably, but yeah. General point stands. But yeah, Odyssey also doing very well, and yeah.
In between them
is Pokemon Sword and Shield, 20.35 million with 1.33 million last quarter. So yes, if I remember correctly, this is now the best-selling game in the Pokemon franchise since Pokemon Gold and Silver, which is Gen 2.
That's like a little surprising to me. I thought that some of those other games sold more than that, but I mean, 20 million is a lot.
No.
It's a lot.
No, it's like Pokemon games were kind of consistent around the 15 million, give or take a couple million mark for a couple generations. And yeah, it's because it's probably the Switch effect more than anything. Sword and Shield has surpassed those and still selling pretty consistently. I mean, it's not going to pass Red and Blue, but
yeah,
which is like at 30 something million, but.
The next one makes me sad.
At 13.82 million, Super Mario Party with 1.72 million last quarter, which honestly, like, Darby, in the last quarter, Super Mario Party sold more than Breath of the Wild, Pokemon, and Odyssey, and just slightly less than Smash.
This is just like good doesn't win in the end.
Yeah.
they get rewarded for making a fourth of a game and charging full price for it. Just it's sad.
It's crazy.
Let's get it out of here.
Like the return on investment, crazy.
Can you imagine what you could have made if you? I would like to say, can you imagine what they would have made if they actually tried? But the sad part is they probably would have made the same amount either way because it's selling off a name.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately, I doubt it would have moved the numbers too much if they did add more content. I mean, they could have sold some DLC, though. I think people would rightly pissed if it's like that came out and they're charging for
I mean, this is like legitimately. I mean, it's a good fourth of a game, but this is a fourth of a game. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. Get it out of my face.
Yep. Pokemon Let's Go, 13 million with about half of mil in the last quarter. I don't think we need to talk about that.
Yeah, we can move through
Splatoon 2, 11.9 million with 630,000 the last quarter. I will say for this though, sales are great and all that for that. I'm hoping the rumor of a Splatoon spin-off game.
Spin-off? Interesting.
Yeah. Like, people are not sure what it is, but you can do a lot of crazy shit with that.
Yeah, I wonder what that means.
Yeah. I mean, I would love if they just went more full on like platformer with it. Just do crazy stuff, just make it more like a full thing. And
I know people really love the
single player. Is fantastic. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. Even if it's not ends up something not for me, I'd just love to see them grow this franchise. Let's see. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, 9.82 million with 1.5 million last quarter. How?
Just every 2D Mario somehow silently sells.
That was one of those like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe where people were like, why are they releasing this shit again? It was like, oh, because it will sell over 10 million.
Yep.
Well, this feels good. Luigi's Mansion 3, 9.13 million with 1.3 million in the last quarter. This is why I'm blanking on their name. They bought that studio. Like Feel Good Games or something like
that? No. Whatever.
Yeah. That's why they bought that studio.
I love how much of a surprise success story Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, I expected like on a smaller scale than Animal Crossing in a way. I expected to do well, like 4 or 5 million at its ceiling.
No, to be honest, I expected people to like really like this game, but for it to not commercially do very well.
Yeah,
I expected it to be like people are like, why is no one buying this game? It's so good. That's what I expected. Mm-hmm. Fucking almost 10 million. What the hell?
I mean, it has pretty good legs. I mean, that's over $1.25 million.
That's not what I expected.
Yeah, but it feels good. Damn it.
Yep.
Speaking of legs, fit.
Some
Firm legs.
swole legs.
Ring Fit Adventure, 8.68 million with 2.84 million in the last quarter.
Well, yeah, it'll be like that. All those numbers should be higher if people could get their hands on them.
So, Dari, like as far as like old games, that is the third best-selling game I think on here besides Mario Kart 8 and Animal Crossing. That's insane. Like,
not surprised for
like I know when you think about
say.
it, this may not sound as impressive, but this is the best-selling new JRPG series of the generation. That's also just funny to say.
It is very funny to say.
But no,
Move aside, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
It has sold more than Final.
We have Ring Fits in town.
Thinking close to double it.
Oh yeah, no,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So Ring Fit Adventurer is guaranteed for Smash at some point if they continue it.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. I've seen people talk about it being like a Wii Fit echo. I'm like, no, hell no. But you can do a whole bunch of shit with that ring. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, 8.32 million with 3 million in the last quarter.
Again, being rewarded for doing nothing. I don't want to talk about it. Move on.
Okay. Super Mario Maker 2, 6.91 million.
This should be a lot more. Also makes me sad.
Only 1.4 million since March 2020. So in 9 months it did that.
It'd be one of the big, like if you went back in time and said that Super Mario Maker 2 sold this like relatively in comparison little, I would have been shocked.
Yeah,
I would have been absolutely shocked. But
yeah,
that's where we're at.
Paper Mario the Origami King, 3.05 million with 230K in last quarter. Not great legs. Not at all.
No.
I honestly expected this game to sell more.
Yeah.
I love the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I expected to do
Yeah, that's the bummer that like one of the very few new things that Nintendo actually did last year performed so much worse than the just old shitty ports.
Yeah. Game's so good. I hate it. Well, speaking of new game that's actually sold really well, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity sold 2.84 million outside of Japan. So the reason it's this is because Nintendo didn't publish it in Japan. Koei Tecmo did. I don't know why that matters here, but it apparently does. As far as having the sales on this. So that's really good. So it's over 3 million in about a month and a half, which is fantastic for a Warrior.
I was about to say, when you put in all the facts, the Muso game, the weird like prequel thing, the fact that it's not really it's like after all of that, it's like that's pretty.
And it's Koei Tecmo's best-selling game, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's official now, which is crazy.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah, instantly have your best-selling game within a month.
Yep.
And that's a company that's done a lot of games. So.
Yep. Love the game. Give me some DLC, man. There's DLC potential there. I think they need to tap into a little bit, Clubhouse Games, 51 Worldwide Classics, 2.62 million with 810,000 in the last quarter. I think that's pretty good for that game.
Jacob Hamill said he'd been enjoying Clubhouse Games.
No, I get why people enjoy this game.
Yeah,
it's just like all those classics, and it's just an easy way to play it.
Yeah.
Like especially, this is one of those. I'm honestly surprised it hasn't sold more because with like online play and shit, this is like the perfect game to kind of have and play some stuff.
To
with
go
friends.
get your butt whooped by some soccer mom in Wisconsin.
Exactly. Now, like one of the two new additions to this list, because everyone is like the last quarter, so it's like Hyrule Warriors. Pikmin 3 Deluxe, 1.94 million in about a month and a half. That is good for this.
Mind-boggling.
Good.
This is another example of how our little video game sphere does not really tell us what's really going on. Because like I think it's already.
I think Pikmin 3 Deluxe is the best-selling Pikmin game now.
Yeah,
like obviously, if you combine all three, but I think just in general.
Yeah, I didn't hear a single person talk about this game, but apparently it silently did. It was silently way better success than Paper Mario in the similar amount of time. It's like it came out after Paper Mario, didn't it?
Yes, but
maybe it wasn't as far after as I thought. But anyway,
yeah,
it's still very good for Pikmin. Very good for Pikmin.
Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy, and I think that might mean some good things for when Pikmin 4 comes out. Maybe. I mean, obviously not like exploding, but
oh yeah, no. I mean, this resets my expectations
for Pikmin.
Now I expect at least 2 million, 3 million plus at least, which is not what I would have expected. So.
Yeah, I'm interested in trying it because Pikmin's one of those, like, it's so weird, and I haven't given it a try. Like, this is a demo for Pikmin 3 Deluxe. That's what I would do first, but I want to give the franchise a try at some point.
Yeah. It's kind of puzzly, right?
Yeah, and
just weird.
Yeah,
or
resource management.
Is it resource management?
Yeah, and I'm not sure.
I really don't know a whole lot about Pikmin, to be honest. But.
All are more fun. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, 1.48 million with just that 0.08 coming in the last quarter. Oh boy, it's a JRPG, so the legs usually are shit. But oh man, I was hoping this did better.
I kind of want to play this game.
So good, so good.
Now playing Final Fantasy 12 has made I think there is a kinship between those two games. Yeah. Those two games remind me a lot of each other. I mean, I think they were both going for the MMO mixed with JRPG, like a normal RPG type thing, and just the way that the world's laid out.
If I had to recommend a Xenoblade game, not to be this one.
I feel like I might actually like that game.
So good. But yeah, I wish it sold more. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Home Circuit, just over 1 million.
It is Mario Kart Live Home
Circuit.
Sorry. It is not associated with Mario Kart 8. Yeah. Sounds about right. All right, let's get through these other news and get out of here, Jeff.
Other news. Let me get the time thing.
Ow, ow. Wolves are coming to attack your house.
Oh, shit.
And you can't stop them. Just let them in. Open your doors.
Prince of Persia remake delayed again. Okay. And they put out a statement that pretty much said, "We heard you when you said how bad this was." and
we can't fix it because this is too good.
Yeah. And so they're trying. Yeah, they're just delaying it to fix it.
They're gonna Sonic the movie Sonic.
Yes.
This game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. And for a little segment.
Speaking of Sonic,
no, we got something first.
No, we got it.
Okay,
come on, man.
Okay.
Come on.
Speaking of Sonic, in this week's edition of Everybody Gets a Movie/TV show, there is a rumor of Jason Momoa being in talks to play Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Let's go,
and baby. I am here for it.
Let's go, baby.
I am here for it because it is been confirmed that Knuckles isn't too.
So. You gotta bring them in.
Wait, I'm trying to think. Okay, so actually thinking about it, well, the weird thing about this, I guess it might be afterwards. I don't know. Because I think they're supposed to start filming soon, or have already started filming.
I would have thought they already started filming.
Yeah. So I don't know if it makes sense for him to be in talks now.
Probably that. It might not be true.
But
let's live in the reality.
Yeah.
Let's live in the dream.
Until it's actually confirmed or not confirmed, we're living in that reality.
Yeah, we're living in the dreamosphere.
Yep. The second part of Everybody Gets a Movie/TV show is the Resident Evil movie is releasing September 3rd.
So it isn't. This is not the one that people think is going to be good. So there's a show and a movie. What is the movie?
Okay. I think there are multiple movies. There's like a CG movie on Netflix, and or is that a TV show? I can't remember.
I thought that was a TV show. But
I don't know. This movie is where it's doing a retelling of 1, 2, and I think 3 of the games in a movie, or maybe just 1 and 2.
All in one movie?
At least 1 and 2. I might just be adding 3 in my mind. And then it has I don't know if you remember me talking about it, but it was I know all these actors, and I feel like they should do a little roulette with some of them. It's this guy should be Chris and not Wesker and all that.
Yeah. So it's probably going to be bad, right?
It could be good.
It could be good. Who knows?
It's actually retelling the story of one, and they actually show a set piece is literally taken out of the remake and thrown in there.
You think you wouldn't worry about it being too much story for one movie? Or is it small enough stories with those two? You're telling 2 games worth of stories. with two different sets of characters.
But
right?
Dark, think how much running around you did for puzzles in 2, and think
I
how
know,
much
a
story
lot
there
of
actually
fucking
was.
running around.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah, I better have like at least 30 minutes of that movie is just running around while Mr. X chases you in a circle because you got to get the car key and take it to the car, and then you got to get the little statue and put it in its hand. But oh no, he's back, so we got to run around in a circle.
Dark, you know who I want to play Mr. X?
Steve Harvey.
I was going to say Danny DeVito.
Yeah, even better.
Well, Dari, actually, your shuffling around did good because we end on this note. This piece of news, the most important piece of news. Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil 8, a.k.a. Big Vampire Lady who you won't step on you.
Yes.
Is 9'6" with her hat and heels, Capcom confirms. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining.